Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of SITWITH.
Yeah,
Today, we'll be talking about housing issues
yeah.
and scams.
Hmm.
So, I'll begin with Mr. Enow. Mr. Enow, how would you describe the current housing situation in cities like Douala, Yaoundé, and Boya and the Southwest? Is it getting better or worse?
Me, I never be house. You dey ask me palava house. My grandparents you said they don't me 100 years for this year don't be house.
Hey,
Mm.
Abeko.
Well, on a serious note, I think we are facing a very serious housing problem in Cameroon. Not just Douala, Yaoundé, or Buea. Like the whole country, we are facing a very serious housing problem. And a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that we have a housing deficit and they are doing all sort of malicious activities.
Mhm.
So it's a really big issue. It's a really, really serious issue. In fact, when you're living in those countries, if you have a job, there are two things you consider: your house rent and your transportation. I think housing comes first.
Yeah.
That's the first burden to every person who's living in Cameroon. Housing issue, especially in places where you don't have family,
Yeah.
where you're living on your own. Housing issue is a major, major problem.
So comparing Boya, because let me talk about the cities where you or the towns where you've lived. Mamfe, you've lived in Boya, you've lived in Douala. Which one is worst?
Dollar is worse.
Is it because of the population density or?
Yeah, the population density and then the housing situation. First of all, the quality of the houses are terrible.
In Douala?
Yes, the houses are terrible. You know, the planning first of the town. It's nothing to write home about.
So
Yeah.
who is to blame? Is it the president or the
Everyone is to blame, but I'll blame the government. I'll blame the government more
for town
because
planning? Isn't it the burden of the
it's-
council?
the council is part of the government.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the government. That's the grassroots government, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll blame them because they just give people permits to build, or they don't even give people permits in places, and then people just build. The front of your house is somebody's backyard. The front of your house is behind somebody's toilet. So people are just, we are basically in survival mode.
Mhm.
So people just build whatever they can to survive. People build on swamps. People build on along streams. People build anywhere they can. People in Cameroon don't do what they want. People do what they can
Yeah.
when it comes to housing.
Mhm.
You understand? So the first thing when people are looking for housing, first of all, is the price before any other thing. So you see, it's a major, major issue, and it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, Mr. Ayo,
Yeah,
proud Tico Pekin.
for life, bro.
What can you tell us? Is the situation of Tico a bit better than these other places, or is it the same thing?
You know, the house agent, the real estate industry is a very frustrating industry for those looking for accommodations in various cities in the southwest. I don't really know much about
So
the other
walk us through.
regions.
If someone is, let's say, I go to Tico right now and I'm looking
Yeah.
for a house. How can I go about it?
It depends. That's what I was about to explain. It depends. There are agents who can link you up with landlords. These real estate agents, they link you up with landlords and stuff like that. But you see, it's a very complicated situation because these people are majority of them are very dishonest. You know, a real estate agent will tell you, "I have a house in this place. It's like this. It's like that. It's like that." He will ask you for an agent fee which is equivalent to the house rent, and by the time you get there, the house is not even what he advertised. You get.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's so frustrating. You know, in most cases, not in all, but
And-
in most cases, it's very
And
frustrating.
they even know, and they even know that that's not what you want.
Yeah.
They know. You tell somebody,
That's the
I need
Mhm.
a 2-bedroom house, or
Yeah.
let me say a single room flat. That's we work in Cameroon studio,
Yeah.
room parlor, kitchen and toilet.
Yeah.
They know. And then
Yeah.
they'll get you something somewhere you don't like because they know very well you will never like it, but they'll show
Yeah.
you that one first because you're going to pay their transport
Yeah.
and you will be
Pay
going
the
to pay
agent
them
fee also.
agent fee for coming
Yeah.
and transport and everything, and then they'll take you there. You don't like it, they say, okay, there's another one they are looking for tomorrow, so you pay for another transport and everything.
So why is it difficult for an average Cameroonian to find affordable, decent housing today?
We have a housing deficit. That's why I just said there are more people looking for houses than we have houses available. Sorry. So people we always have a higher demand for housing than the supply. So we are bound to have those kind of discrepancies when it comes to housing. So every house, there are like 50 people looking for a particular house everywhere, And worst of all, the voices in the bushes, in quote, voices in the bushes, in quote, have made it worse.
That's my next. You've just jumped into my next question. I wanted to ask that what role does rural to urban migration play in housing shortage in major cities?
Well, that's the major cause of the housing shortages in our cities, because people are living in rural areas to come to the urban areas because no development is going towards the rural areas. So people are rapidly leaving those places and coming to urban areas. And the little houses that we have there cannot contain all the population coming in. And notwithstanding the rural urban migration, the population growth in itself, the natural growth of the population, the people that are giving birth, whatever is happening, it makes it difficult for the people to get housing because it's first of all difficult to build a house in Cameroon. It's very much expensive.
Yeah.
I sat one time, when I was living in Douala, I was thinking about this and I said, okay, let me look at something. I looked at the completed buildings, like houses that are fully built, painted, and everything's completely built, finished to the brim. I can assure you, not up to 30% of the houses in Douala are completely built. Like the residential homes, you go to places, residential houses. Most of those houses, people just build their houses, put their window protectors, and then they go into those houses. A lot of the houses in Douala that you see, people get into those houses and then they finish the construction of those houses. If you walk around, if you observe Douala properly, you realize that more than 70% of the population, they are living in uncompleted buildings. They complete the construction of those buildings when they are inside. If you have anybody who can walk on the streets with a phone and video houses along 15, if you video 10 houses, you see at least 5 of them are uncompleted.
Wow.
At least 5 of them are uncompleted. You see they are completing the houses slowly when they enter because it's difficult. Building materials are expensive in Cameroon. They are very much expensive in Cameroon. So people just struggle to get what they can and then they move into their houses.
But are there any government-led housing projects that are actually helping low-income earners?
We had Credit Foncier. I don't know if it's still functioning. I don't know. Credit Foncier, which was a housing fund, which was mostly for civil servants. You can get a loan from it's basically a loan for civil servants to take care of their houses, to build houses. You can get a loan and then you build your house and then they get it from your salary. But I don't know how well that functions. I don't know if it even functions at all. But it is what it is. We are where we are. The way the country is.
Yo, Mr. Eyoh, housing agencies are everywhere in Cameroon, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
As you guys are saying, the trust is very low. Why do many people feel scammed or misled by them?
The problem is
many people do not feel scammed. Many people are scammed. They are scammed. I almost slapped someone someday for Santa Lucia.
See, the main problem here is, I strongly believe, is all these things are happening due to laziness. You get? Because there are things like, for example, I'll just give you a scenario. There was one time I was looking for a house in Boya, and trust me, the house that we needed was just in front of us.
Yeah.
But because of lack of information, we couldn't get to that house. Now we had to pass through somebody who knew somebody who had an agent and another agent.
And you have to pay all those people.
We paid all those people just to come and realize the house is just open.
So why would you attribute it to laziness?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's laziness because they say a closed mouth is a closed destiny. There are things you can research just around you. See,
I
No,
know cases.
Bro,
I don't.
relax,
No,
relax,
no.
relax.
Take
let
it
him
back.
let him
You
learn.
will never learn in Jesus' name. Take it back. Take it back.
Relax,
No.
Laziness as in
What laziness as
putting the
as
information
that?
out there.
Not putting the information out
Bro,
there.
you don't
I
find
can
house for Douala. Douala no
listen.
be Tico will get 2 streets.
Who's
So
talking about Tico? I'm talking about boy. Which Tico? Tico has sushi. What do you mean by Tico? Do you know how? Do you know the population of Tico?
Tico
Do you know
get
how
how many
vast
street?
is Tico?
Tico
Do
get
you know
how
how
many
many quarters are in Tico? The problem is these people. If I decide today that I want a house in Buea, I sacrifice 1 week to look for a house in Buea. Bro, I'm going to have a house in Buea without an agent. You understand? If an agent is scamming you because of a house, it's because you have allowed the agent to scam you. People are desperate. They have looked and looked and looked. They have not seen. They are not patient. Now that is where the agent comes in. I don't have a problem with people working with agents. I have a people working with agents and complaining that these agents are scamming me. They are not scamming you. This is how they work. It is their rules and regulation. You are coming for them. You work according to what they tell you. They're not scamming you. You get? If you are patient enough, you will look for a house and you will see it. What is there's no difficulty there. These houses are not invisible houses. Ask people, they say a closed mouth is a closed destiny. You don't talk, you believe only in agents. At the end of the year, I still complaining that agents are doing this, doing that.
no,
I'm not
no.
refusing the fact that they are bad agents. I'm not refusing the fact that agents will.
It doesn't say if you don't be housing agent, the word is
Bro.
see you. No, I'm suspecting you. It's kind of like you're a housing agent back in Cameroon.
I've
No,
never
the thing
been
is,
one.
see, the thing is, you are not. You're just saying you're just micromanaging the whole thing. All right, let's look at. Okay, let's go according to your hypothesis, right? If I wake up in Buea in the morning, that I'm looking for a house, by evening I can get a house.
Yeah.
But we are talking about other places like Douala, Bafoussam, Bamenda, even in Limbe. Let's talk about just even in Limbe. Most of those houses, the landlords don't live in those places, right?
Yeah.
So you go to places, there are houses that people live in, but they've never seen their landlords. They only deal with agents, sometimes they deal with lawyers. They only deal with landlords over the phone. They pay their house rent to the banks and stuff like that. So you cannot attribute those kind of things to laziness. You go to Douala, all those 4-story buildings where you take an apartment there, you don't even know who the landlord is. You only know the lawyer and the housing agent. So you cannot attribute such a thing to laziness. I think you can say ignorance. I can accept that, but laziness should not be part of it.
Okay.
In a royal era, in a okay, let me not call Buea royal era. I take it back. In a smaller town like Buea, you can easily get a house within 2 to 3 days.
And I'm not refusing what you are saying. I'm not saying it is we are blaming it totally on laziness. I'm saying majority of these people, they can actually look for their houses, but they believe so much in agents that they are so lazy to the point that they want the agent to do everything. I've paid agents money to look for houses in Buea, but never got any. But the day we decided I want to look for us, we saw it without an agent. You get? So I'm not refusing that you can bring in agents to assist you, but at least you make the steps in the first place. Go out there. If you don't see
so
it,
how
go
much
for
will
agents.
you pay an agent to look for a house for
An
you?
agent will take you 10,000 for displacement in Buea to go and look for a house. And when you go there, you see that house, you will pay that agent fee. The cost price of the room is the agent fee you pay. That is, you pay 10,000 first to go and visit. You get there, you agree with the landlord, and you pay the agent the 1 month house rent of that house.
Okay, Enow, can you explain how housing agencies typically work?
Most of it's not even agency. We don't have any registered housing agency in Cameroon. I don't even know if we have any registered housing agency.
Of course, they
Probably
do.
we have a few, but they're not. I mean, for an ordinary man like me who was looking for a house in Douala, right? You wake up in the morning, you're looking for a house. Let's say you wake up and say, okay, I'm going to Lokpom, right, to look for housing. To look for a house. I want to live somewhere around Lokpom. Maybe I work in like I was working in Rompoint, Daido. Somebody say, okay, maybe you work in Bonabel, you want to look for a house. You go to most of those places, the landlords don't even live there. A lot of the landlords are abroad. Some of them, they live in Yaoundé, they live in Bafoussam, they live in different places. You meet even other tenants who live in those buildings. You're looking for a house, they tell you, oh, okay, there's an apartment, there's an empty apartment down there. Okay, can I get to the landlord? They don't know the landlord or the landlady. You can even contact the landlady, they'll tell you, see my agent. My agent has a key, they'll take you there. I'm not in Douala. So, what can you say to somebody who is living? It's easier for students who are going to those university areas where there are a lot of student accommodations, where it's easy. the landlords are there, or the housing agent, the caretakers, mostly caretakers, what we have in the French Cameroon, concierge, they are there. When you meet them, you discuss everything and you pay for the housing and everything. You don't even meet the landlord sometimes. But somebody who's looking for a house who's not a student, who is a young person or a family man, you're looking for apartments, it will be difficult sometimes to meet the landlords or the landladies. Most of the times you meet with those agents.
Yeah.
Right? And you're in Douala, you're working Monday to Friday, Saturday, you just want to rest. Sometimes you work Monday to Saturday, Sunday, you just want to rest. Most of those things are done online now. Because you can go to Lokpom's, go the whole of Lokpom within 24 hours, and you don't see any available house. But there may be houses in those places. You just need to get in contact with housing agents because you might not know.
But are there any
So most of the
laws or
time-
regulation that concern housing in Cameroon?
I have no idea about that. You have to ask a lawyer. If they are no, yeah, seriously, I have no idea. I'm not a legal practitioner. But
Okay.
if there are housing, if there are laws that are governing housing and those housing agents, I don't think it's being followed. Actually, it is not being followed. If there is any at all, it is not being followed. Because the thing is, when you're looking for a house in Douala, in Yaoundé, in Bafoussam,
Mhm.
Chang, places I've lived in. If you're looking for a house in those places, you're the person who needs the service.
Yeah.
The service doesn't need you at the time. And you're the person who is pressed for time, because in Douala, every day that you sleep in a place, you pay for. So if you're living in one house, you want to move to another house, every day that passes, you have to pay for the house you're living in.
Mhm.
So you're already working against time in whatever scenario.
Yeah.
And every house that you see in Douala, somebody else has seen it, or somebody else is about to see it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So people are vulnerable to those kind of behaviors. Well, I wouldn't call it a scam outright, but those are just fraudulent behaviors, dishonest behaviors. They know very well that you don't like this property. You want a property that's close to the road. Bro, agent carry me go play when rain fall. Water dey reach me for knee. You are get where
Okay.
Makepe miss okay. When rain fall, Makepe
Mhm.
miss okay. If I go visit person, turn I just make I just come out run take okada dey go my house. Because when rain fall, I don't fit go house again. You understand?
Yeah.
So I lived in that place for some time before leaving, because I got the house in the dry season. The house was painted, everything was clean. I was kind of like, ooh, new, renovated. Because during the rainy seasons, all the walls get wet, and then you have those stains on them. So the dry season, when the one tenant leaves, before the new tenant comes in, the paint, everything was superb. When the first rains came,
Mhm.
I stood out. I couldn't go to work in the morning because the rain started around 4 to 5 a.m. And by 6:30, when I got out of the house, I stood. Luckily, I had high balcony.
Mhm.
I stood and I looked at. I couldn't go out, and I knew, okay, I've been scammed.
So you
I've been
accepted
scammed.
your
They
fate.
know, yeah, I knew I was scammed. They know. You told me I don't want those kind of things. I don't want those houses because Douala has a lot of floods, right?
Mhm.
I said no, I don't want to live in any area where I'll have floods. And he said no. See, this place is dry. This place is dry. And then it happened. So you understand those kind of things. I almost beat up one. Let me not say beat up. It could have been. I almost fought with one
You had
person
an
in
argument.
front of sometimes. No, I bought in. If you carry me go show me house now. Me too, my head don't shake now. Douala don't enter my skin too. So